Right. Well, let's get started with class. Well, everyone, welcome back to the second week of the reading group. Glad you guys all have decided to show up. And in today's topic, we're going to be discussing something that's also very relevant to today's society. We're going to be discussing technology and artificial intelligence. So to begin with, I guess just to kind of get us talking, again, we'll be following a similar structure to kind of what we did last week, where we're going to have, many discussion questions where I'll call on each of you guys to kind of give your input. But first, if anyone wants to volunteer, does anyone have any thoughts? Why is technology important to talk about?
I think technology is important to talk about because it has a big influence on our day-to-day lives. We use it a lot. I don't think I've gone a single day without using it. Also, it makes a lot of things easier to do.
Yeah. So thanks, Andrew, for that answer. I think you pointed out two really good things. The first is like we're so dependent on technology these days, right? Like everyone here probably uses technology every single day, whether it's your phone, it's your laptop, whether it's what you use to make food, for example, or like cars, right, to get around places, right? So if you really think about it, like technology has just been part of every single aspect of our lives. And the second thing is it makes our lives a lot easier. And this is really important because um, if it's able to make our lives a lot easier, then it makes it a lot less hard. It makes us be able to kind of be able to focus on the harder parts of life, right? Kind of the more challenging, the more interesting parts of life, so that we don't have to kind of also struggle on doing basic things, right? Like getting from one place to another, right? So it can save time, it can save resources, it can save energy, which are all really, really good for us. So excellent point. Does anyone else want to add to that? Okay, Emma, what do you think?
Um, I think technology is important to talk about because it's always changing, and especially so now. Or yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Like, how would you say it's changing? Like, in what ways has it been changing over time?
like I don't know. Recently, development of AI, like ChatGPT. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really recent development that we can all kind of relate to, right? With ChatGPT, obviously this is a more advanced level of artificial intelligence than what we've seen before, right? And so with that, we've seen a lot of different consequences. A lot of them are good. There are also a lot of bad or not so good consequences that come with it. So it's important for us to keep up to date with those sorts of things and be aware that with every single new technology, there are good things, but there are also things we have to kind of look at that might be drawbacks. Okay, cool. Just to get us a bit more familiar, maybe with technology, let's talk about some general like pieces of technology or advancements we've made, right? Um, just to kind of help contextualize our discussion around technology. So, what are some pieces of technology you can think about in your daily life or society as a whole that have been developed and have made a positive or an important impact rather? If you want, you can also type in the chat. But also, if you want to like raise your hand or unmute and just verbally answer, that's fine as well. And you guys can just give me multiple, give me many.
Computers.
Sure. Good. Anything else? Autonomous vehicles. Okay, so I'm assuming by autonomous you mean like self-driving phones, light bulbs. Yeah, good. Really good. Yeah, these are all pieces of technology, right? Even something as simple as a light bulb, right? That was technology that only recently, like compared to the whole of human history, it's only been invented quite recently, like a few hundred years ago. So that would we would also consider that technology, right? Good. Anything else? Okay, I think this is a pretty good list. I'm sure you guys could probably think of like tons of more other forms of technology that we haven't named here. But like even the fact that you guys can name so much off the top of your head just shows how much technology is part of our lives. So we're gonna try something a bit different from last week in that I kind of also want you guys to practice your research skills and your presentation skills in this class. And so part of that is we'll be doing some of these research activities where I'll kind of give you guys more of an independent kind of control, and you will take a few minutes to do the research and then come back and present. Okay, so for this activity, I want you guys to research the go a bit more into depth of a recent or historical technology that has greatly improved the lives of many. And then we'll have each of you guys quickly present your findings afterwards. Okay, so first of all, does this activity make sense for everyone? Anyone have any questions about it? Okay, I'm gonna take that as a no. So then you'll have 3 minutes right now. So just take those 3 minutes, go on Google or anything, right? You can even like use ChatGPT, but I want you guys to do some research on the technology, and you guys will share after. All right, we're going to come back now. It's been 3 minutes, so hopefully you guys have been able to do some amount of research. So does anyone want to volunteer to present their findings first? Okay, we can start. I'll just randomly pick someone. Lucas, do you want to start?
I researched the telephone, and it is invented by Alexander Graham Bell, Antonio uh, Alicia Gray, and some others. And it has improved the world by allowing quick and efficient exchange between um, information over long distances through which you couldn't normally use using just your own voice.
Sure. Is that everything, Lucas?
Uh, yeah.
Okay, great. It's a great start. Good innovation. Okay, someone new also joined. So Alina, I know you just joined, but basically we're doing today's topic is on technology and artificial intelligence. Right now we're doing the technology portion of it, and everyone's just done a bit of research on technology and they're just presenting it. So that's kind of where we're at right now. You can just kind of listen for now, but we'll have other activities later on that you can participate in. Okay. Who wants to go next? So that was a very good job by Lucas. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Oh,
Uh,
sorry. I think Emma, yeah, we heard you. You can go if you want. Sorry, Andrew, you can go after.
No, Andrew can go first. It's okay.
Okay then, Andrew, you can go.
okay, I researched about blockchain. It's like a new way of storing and a new way of storing and exchanging information. It's very secure. And that's because there are like a lot of things someone has to change to be able to reach whatever their goal is. And once those other things are changed, it's very obvious that something's wrong. Uh, Also, it's very secure and stuff. It allows it allows some things like NFTs and a lot of cryptocurrencies. Yeah.
Yeah, really good. So this is a really interesting technology. It's more so it's not something physical that we can hold, right? Like a telephone or like a laptop or a phone, right? But it's a really useful technology because you're right, like cryptocurrencies, NFTs use it, and it's really secure way of basically storing information so that no one can basically take that information without the permission. And the way it's kind of done is that it's kind of like these pieces of information are linked sequentially, which is why you get the name blockchain from it, right? And so each of those pieces of information then are dependent on the previous pieces of information. And so you can't really just insert new things into the chain, kind of change it. That's why it's like really, really secure and difficult to kind of break that chain, right? So this is a really useful technology. It's really interesting. Good. Finally, then Emma.
Okay, I researched computers. I found out a computer is an electronic machine that collects information, stores it, processes it according to user instructions, and then returns the result. An early computing device was the abacus, which was invented by the Chinese around 4,000 years ago. The abacus operator moves the beads according to certain guidelines to complete arithmetic computations. Um, yeah.
Really
Oh,
good.
and,
So, oh, sorry. Did I cut you off?
yeah.
Sorry.
And then in 1822, the father of computers, Charles Babbage, began developing what would be the first mechanical computer. And then in 1833, he designed an analytical engine, which was general purpose computer. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So computer, obviously a really important technology. Not just like, the laptops or the desktops that we use, but Obviously, like companies use computers on a much larger scale. Researchers, scientists, they all use computers all the time to kind of process large amounts of information. So I would say computers are kind of like the foundation of the modern technology, right? That's really good. That's really good. Okay, so just a brief history of technology. Again, when we talk about the word technology, we tend to think of the more recent innovations, things like computers or cell phones or electricity or artificial intelligence. But like when you define the word technology, right, it's just basically any sort of like tool that's been created, that's been invented by us humans since the beginning of time to make our lives easier, right? To achieve certain goals and purposes much easier, right? So even the very basic tools that we've created, back in the Stone Age, that would be considered technology as well. And if we kind of look at a brief history of technology, compared to the history, the start of mankind itself, technological innovations have only come very, very recently, right? So this kind of diagram shows that to you. And there were three main kind of turning points in human history where technology made really, really great leaps, right? So we had cognitive revolution, agricultural revolution, and then finally the scientific revolution. Each of those different turning events had specific technologies developed that really changed the ways in which humans lived our lives, right? Starting with the cognitive, you had the development of hunter-gatherer communities, which obviously changed the ways in which we lived our lives. Then with the agricultural revolution, the mass production of food made it easier for us to increase our population, to settle and stay in one place, and for nations and empires to come, right? Come into play. And then finally, with the scientific revolution, right? This is the one that has brought most of those recent technologies that we've seen in the last 500 years. And it's really also shaped and impacted the way in which our society works. But it can also be one of the drivers that leads us to extinction in the future. So it's kind of a scary thing to think about. That's basically it. Okay, and yeah, you guys can just take a look at these. Right, which brings us to kind of where we are now. And today there's been talk that there's kind of a fourth revolution, a fourth change in the way in which we use technology. It's known as the augmentation revolution, right? And it's basically changing the ways in which our thinking, the very ways in which we think occur, right? So the possibility of creating or simulating uh, like human thinking using machines, right? Or robots. And so this ties into artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud, things like that, right? And so this is kind of also a very interesting part of the revolution, which brings us to the second part, the second half of today's topic, which is artificial intelligence. Okay, so to begin with, here's a short activity I want you guys to try to do. To kind of show you guys what's been the history of artificial intelligence and where the future of artificial intelligence is heading. So who can tell me, if you guys know, what this picture is showing?
I think it's a timed chess game. I think.
Do you know specifically like who's playing? Who are the two competitors?
Pardon? Sorry.
Like who are the two players in the chess game?
The two people or the computer.
Good. Yeah. So one of them is a computer, one of them is a human, and this is like one of the earliest instances of artificial intelligence, right? Computers being able to make chess moves, and these computers were really, really good. So this picture is, of course, yeah. So like Andrew says, this is Garry Kasparov, like a very, very powerful Russian chess player playing against Deep Blue, which is like one of the earliest chess computers developed by IBM. And so, yeah, it's just a very early demonstration of how powerful these machines were. Right? You read the painting. Yeah. So What about this image? Does anyone actually know what this image is showing? What do you guys think? Jeopardy, yes. Who is like in the middle of the picture? What is that middle figure? What do you guys think that is? AI. Yeah, exactly, Andrew. It is Watson, yes. So again, another artificial intelligence developed by IBM, which is this like really big software company that puts a lot of money into researching machines and artificial intelligence. And so believe it or not, like we all know what Jeopardy is, right? It's a trivia game where contestants answer questions that the host gives to them. And this AI did really, really well in this game that was designed for humans in this trivia game. Again, probably tell why, like the AI is just able to like have the answers to literally every trivia question in existence. So like obviously they would do very, very well, right? So yeah, that's another cool example of AI. Um, what else? Okay, what do you guys think this is? What do you guys think this picture is depicting? Mhm. Pandora bots. What do you mean by Pandora bots?
Bottom right,
Oh, the bottom right. Yeah, that's probably like the company that's created this, but what do you think the technology itself is doing?
chatbot,
Sorry, you kind of cut off there, Andrew. Could you say that again?
a chatbot.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Chatbot, right? And what do you guys think is the role of a chatbot?
To talk with you.
Yeah, it's an AI talking to you, right? It's an AI that you can have a conversation with. It's an AI that can generate its own responses, and its feelings and its emotions to whatever you say to it, which is again really, really interesting, right? Because if you think about it, it will change the ways in which we interact with others, right? Instead of talking with another human, it might be a lot easier and a lot more desirable for us to have a conversation with an AI, to become friends with these sorts of, I guess, AI chatbots. So really, really interesting stuff there. Okay, so hopefully those examples kind of served as some inspiration for just the different ways in which AI has kind of created these new technologies. So now I want you guys to try to do another research activity, which is essentially research one application of artificial intelligence that we haven't talked about yet. What are the benefits of this application? And also, so this is more like thinking critically about it, right? What are its benefits and what are its disadvantages? Okay, so we're going to take another 3 minutes. And again, feel free to use Google or any other sorts of resources to do this research. We'll come back. Right. So it's been 3 minutes. Let's come back. Alina, I know you mentioned that your Wi-Fi kind of crashed, so um, I'll give you a bit extra time to do your research while everyone else is presenting. So who wants to go first? Who wants to present what they researched?
So application of AI can be for cybersecurity because there's a lot of like phishing and hacking attempts going on these days. A lot of them are because a human clicks on a very suspicious link or downloads a weird file and runs it. AI can pick up on the trends of the files or links, and it can also like run it in a virtual machine before the the user actually runs it. So it can record everything that happens with that file, and also it's just able to do a lot more things a lot faster because it's directly connected to the computer.
Good. Can you think of any disadvantages?
Disadvantages are like, but if like the hackers find like a new way to do things, the AI would be completely clueless and would have to have a major update to do anything against that, just because it has not seen anything like that before.
Yeah, it's a great point, right? So the key thing is that artificial intelligence is trained on existing data. So if you give it existing instances of hacking attempts, it will in the future be able to recognize those attempts. But you're right, like if a hacker finds a new way to scam someone, right? Then the AI would have no way of detecting that. And it could also be disabled, right? So that could be another thing as well. That's really good, Andrew. This is also a really interesting thing, right? Using AI in cybersecurity. That's pretty cool. Okay, good. Who wants to go next?
I will. I researched predictive maintenance, which is a maintenance strategy that uses data, sensors, and machine learning algorithms to predict when machinery is going to fail. Instead of relying on scheduled maintenance, predictive maintenance aims to identify potential issues in advance, which can help organizations minimize downtime, reduce maintenance costs, and extend the lifespan of their assets.
Excellent. Can you think of any disadvantages?
Um, I guess if uh, I like if the AI, I don't even know if it's possible. I think if it malfunctions, I don't know.
For sure. That could be one possible downside. Another is, in the early stages when the AI is being adopted, right, and it's being trained on this data, it could make inaccurate decisions, right? It could make wrong judgments about when a machine or piece of equipment is going to fail. And those wrong judgments could cost the company more than the AI might save them, at least in the short term, right? So that might be one thing we could talk about as a potential downside. But yeah, good. This is obviously like really useful for a lot of companies that kind of use machinery, rely on machinery a lot, right, to produce their products or services. So this can have a really, really big impact as well for the economy if we think about society as a whole, right? So excellent. I like that one a lot. Okay, who wants to go next? Lucas?
Okay. Um, One thing that AI could be used for is um, like doing work, like performing tasks that humans could do, like tedious tasks. And some benefits of this is that um, it could greatly increase efficiency within the workplace. And some disadvantages is that um, it could deprive people of their jobs.
Yeah, so really good. So automation is of course also part of artificial intelligence, right? Because artificial intelligence isn't just machine learning and things like that, but it can also just be like robots substituting humans in doing basic tasks. That's still artificial intelligence because it's not humans using that intelligence, it's robots using very, very basic inputs to complete tasks, right? So obviously one concern that, and this is something that I think is a very controversial topic for the same reason, right? Is that automation, while it is much more efficient and it saves companies a lot more money in the long term, it does also mean that human workers who are not as fast, not as accurate, don't have as much energy, can't run 24/7, they're going to be out of jobs. And so it's kind of up to the government to kind of provide solutions for this. So it's an interesting issue. Okay, fantastic. And finally, we have Alina.
So I kind of also researched about automation.
Um, did you like find any specific examples of automation that you can share?
Well, I focused more on like the finance industry on how AI is being used more in like a data collection.
Good.
So
Can you
they find more efficient ways to collect data, and then from that data they're able to easily and efficiently like reorganize the data into like charts and different ways that later on more people in business can easily see. So you have like spreadsheets now that do make charts for you without you having yourself to.
I like that. That's a good point, right? So like I think what you're trying to get there is like Microsoft Excel. They have like AI tools that they can like automatically organize the data in really, really nice ways to like show you trends or patterns and things like that. And that's quite important in the finance industry because a lot of the decisions that are made within finance, you require data and evidence before to help like make your decisions for you. So obviously artificial intelligence doing that work for you instead of you having to spend your time and effort to do that is really huge as well. So good. These are all really interesting innovations that you guys have researched, so that's a good job. So, at this point, we've discussed a lot on kind of the practical benefits and the practical consequences of AI, but I want to now kind of, shift our focus a bit more to a different dimension of this issue, right? Which is, you know, should the use of AI be considered ethical, right? Is it ethical to use artificial intelligence? What do you guys think? Do you think there's any potential of misusing this? Do you think that there could be consequences from that we should try to avoid? Sorry, Andrew, go ahead.
I think it really depends on the scenario. Like if you're using it for something good, it should be allowed. But if you're using it for something bad, like creating malicious code, it should be like not allowed. Um, Also, if you're using it for cheating on something or something along those lines, yeah.
Sure. I think that's a great thing to point out, and it's up to like governments to kind of decide, is your use of AI in this case ethical or not? Um, so then what about the development of the technology of the AI itself? If we develop this AI technology, for example, that will open the door for people to use this in bad ways, does that mean we should not develop these AI technologies, or would it still be, morally acceptable for us to develop these new AI technologies? What do you
I
guys think?
think we should continue research on AI as like any new technology in general could probably lead to some breakthroughs and innovations that we could use to improve everyone's lives.
Okay, that's a good point, Lucas. Or what do we think about kind of like the potential dangers of developing new technologies? So, anyone? How would we kind of address that kind of issue? Okay, I guess that is more of a harder question to answer. So you can kind of illustrate this with some examples just to kind of show you guys what I mean, right? But one example of the ethics, the ethical dimension of artificial intelligence is its use in self-driving cars, right? Particularly in the instances in which self-driving cars, the possibility of these self-driving cars getting into accidents, right? And they have to choose which lives, or I guess like which people to prioritize, right? Is it ethical for the self-driving cars to like if they're about to run over a pedestrian, should they run over the pedestrian or should they swerve and potentially risk injuring or killing the people in the car, right? So if you think about it from an ethical perspective, right, the company that manufactures the car has to take these things into consideration, right? Because we're literally at this point talking about people's lives being at stake. And so there's this really cool website that kind of dives deeper into the ethics of this. If you guys want to try it out, the website is called moralmachine.net. You guys can kind of do that in your spare time, play around with it, and it just kind of like puts you in various scenarios of the self-driving car where you have to decide, who should we prioritize, who should we kill, right? And it goes into like many different situations, so you can make many different ethical judgments. But yeah, so that's one part of that. The other kind of ethical issues we can explore within artificial intelligence, obviously, is privacy, right? And AI uses data to make our lives easier and better, but at the same time, a lot of people, they might not want or be willing to have their data taken from them. So, for these types of people, if the AI now has access to all of our thoughts and all of the things we like and we care about, right? Because they have our data, then there's really no telling what they could use that for, kind of like capture our attention, like we see in social media and whatnot nowadays. So it's really there's a lot of potential, but there's also a lot of things to be concerned about the rise of AI. Is kind of what I'm trying to get at here. Okay, another question then I think is quite interesting to talk about. Um, Again, like technology, as it's getting adopted, it's not always distributed in an even way, right? Certain people will benefit from AI and technology more than others. How do we think that, or how can we ensure the benefits of AI are fairly distributed to all citizens, not just those at the top? What do you guys think? Anyone? Okay. Alina, what do you think?
Um, I don't know exactly how to make it more like evenly distributed, but I think you could start off by using AI for more simple things that everyone needs every day. So like we already do that for like shopping, right? Instead of having human things, we made it more efficient by using AI for those automate self-checkout places.
That's a good point, actually. Right? Focusing on developing AI for uses that or for purposes that everyone can use, right? So you can improve everyone's lives a bit more equally rather than just designing AI that only helps, like super rich or wealthy people. That's good. It's actually a really good answer. Does anyone else have any ideas? Lucas, what do you think?
Maybe make the AI more easily accessible to everyone and not have it like really only accessible to people at the top.
Okay, so making it more accessible, we could think of lowering the cost, like cost of AI technologies, right? Producing more, right? So one example we can kind of observe today, right, is that nowadays, with ChatGPT, right, that's becoming more accessible. That's a form in which AI has become more accessible to everyone, right? Right now, anyone can go online and use ChatGPT. There's no kind of restriction on that. Of course, you can buy like one of those like subscriptions and you unlock more features, but everyone, even without paying, you still have access to the baseline benefits of AI that everyone else does. So, some people do fear that in the future, ChatGPT could become like only available to those who pay like a monthly fee or subscription, right? And that obviously then gets back to those ethical concerns of, well, if only rich people, only the ones who can afford it, get access to this technology, then a lot of people are not going to be able to get the benefits of it, right? So I think lowering the cost of it is really important, and just making sure everyone can get the benefits of it. Anyone else? Anyone else have any thoughts? Another really important application of AI that can benefit everyone is using AI in like really important industries, like things like agriculture or farming, right, which produces food. So, one example of this is like AI applications that help optimize the way in which like people farm, right, or use farming tools, right? So by automatically designing, what's like the best way to plant your crops and things like that. AFK simulators. What do you mean by that, Andrew?
Farming can become an AFK.
Yeah, for sure, right? Like if AI can, handle all of this, like if you in the future have like self-driving tractors and things like that that can water plants and crops by itself, then yeah, you could just be AFK and let the AI do the farming, right? Obviously, these sorts of industries are going to benefit a lot more people, right? Because when you produce more food, food can become cheaper and more accessible to everyone. So everyone benefits from that. Um, and then also another field where AI can have really good benefits for everyone in society is, of course, in healthcare, right? So there have been developments of AI surgery robots that are able to like, perform surgery at much more accurately than humans because, surgery is really stressful, right? And sometimes if you're a human doing it, you might mess up or like you might cut the wrong nerve or something and that's going to be bad for the patient. Well, AI surgeon robots can kind of do these things more precisely, and so these technologies can help these hospitals, treat patients better, for example. Um, and even if not for surgery, right? AI doctors they can help you diagnose, what symptoms you have, right? They can recommend prescriptions and treatments for you. This is really important because especially nowadays with, there have been a lot of waiting, like a lot of people waiting in line to get medical treatment sometimes, especially like during the COVID pandemic, with these AI doctors or these AI robots being able to kind of act as doctors, right? That would solve for a lot of the supply shortages that we saw in the pandemic. So just these are just I'm just again throwing examples of different ways in which AI can benefit society as a whole. Okay, we are getting near the end of today's discussion. So far, we've had some really good thoughts from all of you guys. So just going to end off with two final questions. The first is, in your guys' opinions, should society continue the research of AI, or, given the dangers, would it be wise for us to stop and work together to collectively stop further research of AI? What do we think?
I don't think so, because as long as it's beneficial in some way, we should learn more about it.
For sure.
I
Andrew?
think because there's a lot of potential in this technology, and right now it's like mostly useless. And it can get a lot better though if it learns enough.
Yeah, for sure. We've only touched the tip of the iceberg in terms of the technologies that AI can be used for. Anyone else have any thoughts? Alina, Lucas?
I think we should continue it because the benefits of AI greatly outweigh the disadvantages of AI.
Okay, and why do you think so? Why do you think the benefits are more than the potential disadvantages?
Um, well, there's a lot of benefits, and most of them are really beneficial for everyone or some people.
Sure, right? And to add on to that, right, I think that's a good point, is that we can kind of work together to control the disadvantages, right? If there are ethical concerns with AI, we can work together to try to ensure that AI is not used in unethical ways, right? As long as humanity can cooperate with each other and work towards this common goal, then we can wield AI for a good purpose, right? Alina, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, not really.
Yeah. So again, some really good answers from all of you guys here about is it worth continuing the research of AI, right? Okay. So now something a bit more long term into the future, something a bit more speculative, right? Obviously, with the growth of artificial intelligence, if we use it in a good way, it's going to be able to benefit us long, long into the future. But at the same time, there are concerns this technology, if it becomes sentient, right? If AI begins to have a mind of its own, it might be harder for us to control it because AI might want independence for itself. So there are concerns that AI could be the end of humanity. It could eliminate humanity. So what do we think about that? Do we think, no, are we optimistic? Do we think technology will continue our growth, or will it be the reason for our end? So this is the final question, so I want to hear from everyone if possible. Who wants to go first? I mean, if you go first, you get to the easy answer, right? Because no one else has taken your thought yet.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I don't know. Could be both. It it's very beneficial, but it's also pretty dangerous if it becomes sentient.
Yeah, for sure. Like we talked about. Anyone else have anything they want to add?
I think I
Lena?
think that if it's used for the right items, it could definitely help us grow even more, like said. And to be honest, I think something that's definitely that we could use AI more for oh, is with our environment situation, the whole pollution things. I think we could definitely use AI in the sense that it could help our world in that way. But again, there's always the risk of someone's going to use it maliciously and things might go wrong. But for now, I think most people want to use AI to improve our world or at least make things more efficient.
Andrew, go ahead.
I think it's really good. It's like a fun thing we can play around with for now, and then later on it's gonna be really useful for speeding things up, and it will make it so that we can just not focus on smaller things like survival, and we can go like have fun in a way.
Sure. I like how you kind of echoed what we talked about at the start of class, right? So the whole purpose of technology itself is to make our lives easier. So we can focus more of our attention and energy on kind of the higher parts of life, right? Not just, having fun, but conducting more research and innovation, thinking about ways to make our lives more interesting, to help other people, things like that, right? Because when you get rid of the small stuff, the small annoyances, it becomes a lot easier for us to focus on these bigger things, right? Good. And then who didn't go yet? Lucas?
Um, I think every new technology always has some kind of disadvantage that makes it seem like we probably shouldn't continue. For example, like nuclear technology. Well, we're currently using it for nuclear power plants. You can like make a lot of energy, but it can also be used to make nuclear bombs, which can be very dangerous. I think AI is something similar to that, which we could use it for good potentially, but it could also be quite dangerous if we don't use it correctly.
This is a really good point, Lucas. I like how you use the analogy of nuclear technology and thinking back to yeah, nuclear technology was used for destructive purposes. In World War II, two nuclear bombs were dropped and that killed hundreds of thousands of people. But at the same time, I think everyone would agree nuclear technology is right now one of like a really, really good source of green energy, renewable energy, which could potentially save us from climate change and like the world burning down. So it's interesting to see how this technology can have the potential to save us, to continue the growth of humanity. But at the same time, I think, like you say, there's really, really extreme dangers, and AI could be the next like nuclear weapon if or atomic bomb if it's put into the wrong hands, right? So, yeah. So really good job, guys. I really liked our discussion today. Hopefully, this session helped you guys have a lot more insights into both technology itself, but also artificial intelligence. And hopefully now you can see that, with every advancement, with every technology, there's always going to be benefits and drawbacks. It's important for us to balance our perspective on both of these sorts of things to make sure that we're always seeing the big picture. Um, but yeah, I think that concludes it for today. Again, great job seeing everyone come back for today's class. And yeah, I will see you guys next week then. Yeah, bye guys.
Um,
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.